Welcome to From the Editor with Larry Gordon, where newsmakers unpack the stories shaping the Jewish community.
Hi, everyone. It's Larry Gordon with Esta Gordon, a second go-round on our couple's podcast in the offices of the Five Towns Jewish Times. And the idea really was to, created by Esta, was about going through the million or so words that appear in every single issue of the Five Towns Jewish Times and pick out an article or two, depending on the time allowance, and to read part of it, and then bring the one-dimensional article to a multi-dimensional type of life, bring it to life. That's what we're gonna do today. Yes, we did a story. With this, we're recording this on what's today? I think it's January 14th. So it's Wednesday.
14th,
January
Wednesday.
14th. And in this week's Five Towns Jewish Times, we did some research on what's happening at Maimonides Hospital. I think everybody in the New York area, for sure, in Brooklyn, is familiar with Maimonides Hospital. What it used to be called? B'nai Zion? What was it called once upon a time?
Israel Zion. I was born there.
Oh, Israel Zion. Israel it used to be Israel Zion Hospital. Then it became Maimonides
Right.
Hospital.
Only
Anyway,
hospital Borough Park then.
Maimonides Hospital is the only hospital in Borough Park today, too. It's a very, very busy place.
True.
But Maimonides Hospital has been taken over by the city, and it's no longer a privately run hospital run by a board. It's now being run by the city of New York, and they expect the care, which has plummeted and has been one of the worst in New York State, to
What was the
blaze a new
number we
trail.
heard?
And yeah,
It was number
New York
57?
Times. 157. There were 157 hospitals in
157,
New York
right.
State, and they were rated number
Right.
157 last year. And they
Even
expect
less than Bellevue? Wow.
they expect
Wow.
that to get worse. They expect that to get worse because we have experience with it personally over the
Unfortunately.
years.
Unfortunately, we've had a lot of experiences. My parents are from Borough Park, and every time they'd end up going to the hospital, it would take us about, sometimes it could have taken upwards to 2 days to get them in a room. And they would just be in the ER. And this was with Protexia. And the ER was a dash show. You would have drunks come off the street, take over all the beds, get fed, and then in the morning they would leave. They needed a place to sleep. And the hospital had no right not to let them come in.
Right,
So the
right.
patients that were there, and especially the elderly patients that really needed care, you could never let them go without somebody. I mean, we were there 24/7
Yeah, well,
because they would just
ba-
ignore them, the old
based on some
people.
of the doctors that we know personally, who we spoke
Right.
with yesterday, the doctors again, the good doctors that have been there sometimes, in some cases, 20, 30 years or more, are getting
30
ready to
years.
leave. They're getting ready to leave. Nobody wants to be identified, of course, because they want to last at least until April 1st, when the transition takes place from being how the way Maimonides is run today and the way it's going to be run after April 1st. I spoke to someone from Hatzalah who's very much involved in the administration of Hatzalah. He said they're going to urge them not to take patients to Maimonides as a way of pressuring the hospital because that's a very large source of patient income, so to speak. But Borough Park is a relatively small area with probably a couple of 100,000 people.
But it's not just Borough Park, because it's Flatbush. And what does it say about the Jews in that community? How could they allow this to happen?
Well, there was a
Who do you think gave all the money for Maimonides?
I really don't know. Of course, you
Who
see
are the big
Jewish names in
donors?
all hospitals. You see Jewish names in all hospitals in New York. Why the important hospitals called Mount Sinai?
Well, there's a lot of corruption done.
Yes, that's what one of the doctors said. If you're doing a story about it, you should call it corruption and incompetence. That's what the suggestion of the doctor that we spoke to was. And I think I did call it that, corruption and incompetence. And they expect things to get worse. It means if we waited, when your parents were alive, we waited sometimes 48 hours for a room, you can
Oh,
expect us to
easy,
be
easy.
wait 3 or 4 days to get into a room. And one of the interesting things that I learned about the people that we spoke to is that the reason there's going to be a depletion in the quality of the staff is because a city-run hospital does not pay overtime. So you're getting paid 40 hours a week or whatever you're working. You get your salary based on 40 hours a week, even if you're forced to stay, 60 or 70 hours a week. Your salary is your salary, and you got to be there as long as you have to be there. And that's not going to attract people that are looking to work overtime and make additional money, in dispensing the type of medical care that a hospital should want to dispense. We also learned that there was an effort at some point over the last couple of years, Esther, to have Northwell take over
Right,
Maimonides Hospital.
right.
And the administration of
That never
Maimonides
happened. They did
didn't
give
want that to
money.
happen. Yes,
Right,
a few years ago, Northwell lent Maimonides $150 million. And
which nobody knows where it went.
well, wherever it went, but it was a
It
loan, but
went.
it's not being repaid.
It can't be
So
paid
you
back.
can forget about that. So, but the bottom line is Maimonides is located where it's located on 10th Avenue. I think it's 48th Street in Brooklyn, and it's a
Right.
very busy place. Busy busy maternity ward and a lot of other specialties that they have in the hospital, cardiac areas, and some of the top doctors in New York. But those doctors are either going to be retiring because some of them are older. I know
Or
some of
leaving.
them, and they're going to be leaving. They're talking to other hospitals, and the good hospitals, the hospitals that know how to make money, are going to be hiring them away from Maimonides, and you're going to have a lower tier or a lower level type of medical practitioner working at Maimonides. So
Well,
it's
you
not
know
good
what?
for the.
Towards the end, I mean, of this run, I mean, listen, do you remember that anytime I couldn't be there with my parents, I had to bring somebody in, an aide, to sit with them? You could never leave them alone. The nurses were not taking care of them, ever. Now,
Well, listen,
I
it was a
mean,
disaster. It was
what
disastrous
world?
closing during COVID. During
Well,
COVID,
they put regular
Maimonides,
patients with the COVID patients.
yeah, but they had one of the highest rates of patient deaths during COVID. Not from
They
COVID.
starved,
They stopped them because the nurses refused to bring food into the
wouldn't go
rooms.
in. Right.
So
Well,
that's
I was there
astounding.
during COVID with my mother,
Yes, I
and
remember
the
that.
nurse would not even come in to help me do things.
Right. So, I mean, it's something that we have to keep an eye on because it is a medical institution that I think is near and dear to the Jewish community in New York because it has grown appreciably. It has satellite offices, all around different parts of Brooklyn. There are satellite offices. There's a Maimonides office on a mini hospital on Kings Highway in Brooklyn.
Right.
And also, I think in Sheepshead Bay, there's another one which we have seen and driven by. So it's bad news for the community in Borough Park. They're going to have to do what people in Williamsburg do. Like they don't
They go to
actually have to go.
Manhattan.
They go to City, they go to Mount Sinai, they go to NYU. These are the top hospitals. A lot of them are run by Northwell, and they know how to
It
run a
gets
hospital and make money.
problematic when you. It gets problematic for the elderly. For instance, you want to be near them, and if you live in Borough Park, you want to be able to walk over on Shabbos and sit there all day. There isn't really accommodations for everybody. Bika Cholam is amazing in Manhattan and all over. But if everybody has to be there for a Shabbos, they can't accommodate that.
That's true, and that's a big casualty because people that are in the hospital and ill, they look forward to having family
Yes,
visit and sit with them on
right.
on Shabbos. So I don't know how it's going to work out. The health and hospitals, what's it called the health and hospitals. It's called
H
HHC.
H A
H A H
S
H HFC HHC Health and Hospitals
C.
Corporation. It's a health and hospital corporation is taking over Maimonides Hospital, and it's going to become like what the doctor say to me? It's going to become like Jamaica Hospital or some other
Bellevue?
hospitals. I don't know about Bellevue, but Kings County Hospital, hospitals that treat a different caliber of patient, and more importantly, attracts a different level of a medical practitioner, which is not what Maimonides has seen in the past. They have some outstanding departments, and they're just going to be suffering because they're not going to pay what they used to be able to pay. And I also heard that one of the advantages for Maimonides to join the city is because Medicaid will reimburse a higher rate for some reason. So it
Uh-huh.
gives them an opportunity to not to lose as much money as they usually lose. But it's a tough break for the Borough Park community specifically, I believe. We're going to discuss an article that appeared in last week's Five Town Jewish Times by Rachel Tuchman, and she doesn't even know that we're going to be discussing her. I guess she'll find out when she sees this. So, Esther, go ahead. Read the first couple of articles
Okay,
so
I'll start
listeners.
with her first paragraph. By the way, the name of her articles is State of Mind.
Okay, that's calm. State of mind.
There is a kind of marriage advice that gets repeated often to young men and usually with the best intentions. Much of it comes from rabbis and mentors who generally who genuinely care about shalom bayis, peace in the home, and want to protect the marriage. At the same time, some of this advice causes real harm. Many young men, especially early in marriage, are told things like, just don't say anything. Pick your battles. She's always right. She's the boss. And that's just how marriage is. Or my personal favorite, happy wife, happy life. On the surface, this advice sounds wise. It sounds like maturity, letting go of ego, being mivater, and choosing peace over conflict. And
Mhm.
sometimes, in specific circumstances, it can be helpful. Not every irritation needs to be addressed. Not every feeding, not every feeling needs to be shared right away. Learning to pause is a good skill, and when this becomes the default guidance, it teaches people to stay quiet instead of learning how to communicate. There is a big difference between knowing when to hold back and being told to routinely swallow your feelings. One
Okay,
is
so
emotional regulation, and the other is emotional suppression. Telling
okay, so
someone,
you
not,
want to you want you
wait,
want to
let me
take
finish
you want
this.
go ahead,
I'll
finish that
finish the
paragraph.
thought. Okay.
Go ahead.
Telling someone not to say anything in a heated moment can prevent escalation, but telling them to suppress themselves can lead to distance, resentment, and loneliness in a marriage over time.
Okay, even those couple of paragraphs that you just read, there's a lot there. I know it's a very, very long article and it discusses a great deal. I mean, the key is about young people, I think, and how to establish a foundation for a successful and a happy marriage. And it sounds in the beginning like she's advising, or she's disagreeing with the advice for, in this case, for the man to just suppress his emotions, at least verbally suppress his emotion, and just shut up.
Well, not, no, she's not really saying that. Basically, she's saying that can't be the foundation of a marriage. What she's saying is, sometimes discuss it, but don't do it in a heated moment. She wants them to pause. If there's a problem, pause. But to suppress all your emotion for the rest of your life, that's not going to work because somewhere there's going to be a volcano that will erupt.
Okay, so what does pause mean to you? What does pause mean? Pause means to shut up.
So,
right?
well, she does go on and
Involuntarily.
explains. She does go on
That's a
to
nice way. It's a
explain
nice
it.
way to say. It's a
Well,
nice way to say to your
apparently we're
husband,
married
"Can you
46
please? Can you
years,
please?
and
Can you please
one
pause?
second, hold
Why don't
on,
you?
we're
Why don't you
married
just
40.
1 second? Why don't you
Please
say
don't make
just?
me laugh.
Why don't you pause the heck up? Why don't
We're
you pause
married
the heck up?
46 years, and I guess your
It's not about
generation,
us.
or maybe in your home, you never heard of anything like that. My feeling is you always want the last word, but let's forget about us, okay? And let's
Yes, that's a good
continue.
idea.
What
Okay.
she's saying is by pausing, which I've always suggested, was tell the other partner, you know what? Let's take a break. You go there, I'll go here. Think about it, and then let's get back and talk about it without emotion. That's normal. But for a guy to say, you're the boss, or yeah, you're great, and that doesn't work either. And vice versa.
Sure. First of all, what is she blaming the rabbis on? That they're getting
Okay,
like,
can I continue?
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
do you want me
Let
to
me say,
continue?
yeah. In a moment, I read part of the article, and I also saw that she also mentions references to rabbis and yeshivas right away,
But she just
and
mentioned she's not coming after them.
yeah, I understand that. And she also says that the girls, like in yeshiva or in seminary after high school, are taught to do things a certain way, and the men are advised to conduct themselves a certain way. And the combination of those two things don't always work.
Correct. Should I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pick your battles can slowly turn into nothing is worth addressing. Let it go can turn into your experience doesn't matter. She's always right, can turn into one partner opting out of emotional responsibility altogether. Happy wife, happy life can send a subtle message that one partner's emotional experience matters more than the other's. These phrases are more often directed at men with the expectation that passivity and silence equal wisdom and maturity. Marriages do not fall apart because people talk too much. They fall
Hmm.
apart because people do not know how to talk in ways that help their partner hear them.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
this let me continue. I want to be clear. Why am I specifically naming rabbis here? I've seen too
Hmm.
many young couples struggle because of advice their rebbeim gave them. This starts during Israel gap years, continues in premarital classes, and then again when couples inevitably reach out to their rabbi during moments of real stress and emotion and tension. These are high impact moments, and the guidance they are given often carries more weight than anyone realizes.
Okay, so she is criticizing the teachers, the seminaries, and the rabbis and the yeshivas because you know what? Not everything fits all. You know, not one size fits all. You can't dispense advice to 100 people and have it apply to everybody the
Right,
same. You talk
right.
about human emotions. You're talking about so many different circumstances. It's almost impossible to pinpoint. I want to point out before you continue. I want to point out that there's a part of brachas in the morning. I always say it's a mishnah before we put our tefillin on, at least in my siddur anyway, where it says, these are the things that a person gets, reward in this world, and what he gets a reward for in the next world. Some of those are kibbut av v'ein, gemilas chasadim, hashkamas beis midrash, means you get up in the morning to go to the base medrash, to Abba Shacharis, and you go for Ma'ariv, Tachnasus Kala, welcoming in guests, Bika Cholim, visiting the sick, uh, uh, Haglas's Kala, making a bride, yeah, celebrating with her, or enhancing her wedding, Baal Mason, going to be Malava Mace, going to a funeral, and having focus and concentration when you're davening. Then it says, "Va'ava Shalom ben Adam lachaveri or an ish leishtai," that you should bring peace, shalom, between a person and his fellow person, a woman and her fellow woman, a man and his fellow man. Then it says when each time. Then it says between a man and his wife. So I always my antennas always go up when I hear someone say my wife's my best friend because the Mishnah says that there's two different categories. There's the Adam Lechavero, is the relationship between one person and another, your friends, okay? And then there's been Ish Ishta. Then there's the relationship between a husband and a wife. So they're two separate things. So if you're trying to, I believe, based on that Mishnah, which is eternal and written thousands of years ago, if you're going to, so apparently the people who wrote it understood human emotions. So if there's two things, you have to be, if you want to avoid these kind of conflicts that Rachel was talking about in her column, you have to understand, I believe, that there is a relationship between friends, and then there's a relationship between a man and his wife. And these run parallel. They're not the same thing. You can't, be with your friends and come home and just think you're going to be working with another friend. It's another friend. It's a unique, exclusive type of relationship between Ben Ish Ish type between a man and his wife. And I'm talking about in terms of what she's
Are you
referring to.
saying a man and his wife can't be best friends?
The Mishnah says that that's not workable. Now, what does that mean? What is that best? Well, I don't know what best friend really means anyway. I mean, maybe in first grade you
Having
have
each
best
other's
friends.
back?
What?
Why? Having each
Well,
other's back, being loyal to
I'm
one another.
yeah,
I think it's an
that's fine and
important
good.
aspect to a marriage and to
There's
a friend.
probably there's probably distinguishing characteristics that overlap between the two types of relationships, but there's uniqueness between a relationship between friends and a relationship between a husband and a wife. And I'm not making it up. I'm just telling you what the Mishnah says that we all say every morning in davening. I don't know if we're focused on it, if we're aware of it, but that is something that the authors of the Mishnah pointed out, and they understand that.
Okay, I think also Rachel is not saying don't listen to your Rebbeim. What she is saying, not all the Rebbeim are equipped as therapists. You have to go to somebody that has knowledge of that, and there are those that do.
Well,
That's
she's a
what she's
therapist.
saying, which makes
She's a
sense,
therapist. She's a therapist,
right?
and she
And
has a
there are
clientele.
rabbis that are therapists too. So go to
Right.
those.
Okay. So, but she's talking about girls that are getting direction from their seminary teachers in Israel, for example, or
She
their.
said, okay, she does say that women get their share of bad advice too, but there is often an unspoken assumption that women are emotionally intuitive and men are emotionally limited. The guidance
Okay.
men receive is often some version of just stay quiet, don't push back, or just do whatever your wife wants. And over time, that doesn't work. She said, the idea that a wife will be happy if her husband simply goes along with everything she wants misses the point. Plus, it's not true. Most
So, what are you
women
saying?
do not want to be in charge of everything. They want a partner, not a subordinate or a child.
Okay, I hear you. So, but on what basis is she determining that men are emotionally limited?
I think that's well known.
Yeah, I'm hearing about
Yeah,
that for the
go
first
on
time.
ChatGPT.
Should I ask ChatGPT? You know,
I think that would be great.
should I ask ChatGPT if men are emotionally
That should
limited?
be interesting. Why
I can do
not?
that right. I can do that right now if we have time.
Okay.
All right, let me see if I can just
Are
pop
women
into the
more
phone.
intuitive than men?
Now you're changing the question.
Not really.
Okay, let me see if the guy is here. Hi, good morning. You there?
This is our guest.
Yeah. Okay, bear with me a second. Hello.
Um,
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to hear from you. Let me know
Um,
whenever you're ready to dive into whatever you have in mind.
okay. Do you believe that men are more emotionally limited than women?
Well, that's definitely a big and interesting question. Honestly, I think it depends a lot on the individual and the cultural or social context they grew up in. Some people might have been encouraged to be more emotionally open or expressive, while others might have been raised with expectations that limit that. So I wouldn't say it's a universal truth, but it's a really good topic to chat about.
Okay, so I'm asking about specifically to the extent that you know how the Jewish community functions. Do you think that considering the Jewish upbringing, especially in an Orthodox Jewish environment,
Use the
do you
word
think
intuitive, please.
that women are more intuitive than men, and that men are emotionally limited?
Yeah, I get what you're asking. Within an Orthodox Jewish environment, there's definitely a lot of cultural nuance. Traditionally, you might see that women are often encouraged to take on roles that are seen as more nurturing, more intuitive, especially in family and communal life. Meanwhile, men might sometimes be nudged toward roles that emphasize study, leadership, or certain forms of emotional restraint. But again, it really varies by individual. There are definitely plenty of emotionally attuned men and plenty of deeply analytical women in those communities too. So while there might be certain patterns, I wouldn't say it's a strict rule that men are more emotionally limited or that women are always more intuitive. It's more about the mix of upbringing, personality, and the way people navigate those cultural expectations.
Okay, thanks very much. He's not taking a side either,
No, he's
Larry.
smart.
He's
We're not talking about everywhere across the board. Generally, that's what we're saying.
well, the Mishnah that I cited uh, applies to everybody for the last couple of thousand years. That there's a relationship between between a man and his friend, and then a secondary relationship between ben ish v'ishtai, between a man and his
Okay,
wife.
I think this addresses something. Despite what our culture says and teaches, men have emotional depth. They are capable of reflection, growth, repair, and emotional presence. We should give them more credit, not less. And we should expect more of them, not by shaming or silencing, but by teaching them the skills to show up emotionally and rise up to the challenge of partnership. So she is really agreeing with what you were just discussing.
Yeah, well, she doesn't
She's
want to take one
saying
side or
that
the other
you
either.
have the ability, but somehow these days, everybody's telling the male, "Oh, just keep quiet, let her do what she wants. Don't, don't butt heads." But that doesn't always work because after a while, something happens.
No, it's definitely true, and the opposite of that. If everybody's going to say whatever they want, whenever they're going to feel like saying it, and are going
It wouldn't
to
work.
talk over one another, there's going to be nothing but trouble and arguments. So from that perspective, I think she's saying the belief is that it's the man's role to suppress his emotions and not speak
No, don't
whatever he
suppress
feels
them,
like
she's
saying,
saying.
but not to say whatever you want to say whenever you want to say it. You could think it, but you
Both,
don't have to say it.
both. She's saying both cases. She's saying the rabbis are telling the boys to suppress emotion, and she's saying that won't work. It's not fair. You should be able to have a healthy conversation. Let's say you're having a big fight. Then pause. You say, okay, let's not fight about it. Let's go each in our own spot, come back, and then discuss it again
If you listen to
coherently
if you
without
listen to
emotion.
if you listen to this advice in this direction, then how does there ever be? There should never be a fight. Yeah, you have to follow. There's never a fight. How do you get to a situation where you can
You
quote
can have
unquote
a
have a fight?
disagreement, especially when you're discussing things with kids or other things like business. People have disagreements, but she's
Yeah, I
saying
agree. I agree. I agree with that. I
don't
agree with
agree
that.
with whatever she says, and the same thing. He shouldn't agree whatever she shouldn't agree with whatever he says. We're going
Okay.
back to what we
Anyway,
discussed last week when I
right,
said you have to discuss things.
right. I agree. I agree with you about that. I agree with you about
Oh,
that.
really? Let
No,
me read
listen.
the last paragraph.
Okay, go ahead.
If we want strong marriages, we need to teach people how to stay connected through discomfort, not just how to avoid it. We need to focus less on teaching men to shut up and teach them to show up. That work is much harder than offering one line advice, but it's what actually helps marriages last. There are professionals who dedicate their work to helping couples build their skills, and partnering with them strengthens the guidance couples receive. If we can reflect honestly on where our guidance helps, where it falls short, and where collaboration and support are needed, we can do better by the marriages we are trying to protect. She did mention, by the way, somebody that is a rabbi and, oh,
Hmm.
an excellent,
Therapist.
I don't know if he's a therapist. She says, I want to note my appreciation for Rabbi Larry
Rothwach's.
Rothwach's recent
Rothwach's.
article
Yeah.
on
Hmm.
pastoral roles and boundaries.
Okay,
So if
so yeah,
anybody wants to read that.
yeah, right. Okay, it's about that. It's a long article by Rachel. It's about 2,000 words, I think. I didn't count the
Oh,
words,
it's
but
much longer. Yeah.
yeah, but I think she got comfortable in the very beginning of the article. She was talking about pausing. In the last paragraph, she already said to shut up. So it looks like as she was
No, she's not.
progressing,
No, she's
as she
telling
was
them not
progressing
to
in the
shut
article,
up.
she was getting very comfortable.
No,
Well, she meant they shouldn't pause.
you know what? The big problem is men don't listen. Hold on. She specifically said men should not shut up. They should show up. That's
Yeah.
what she's saying. She's
Okay.
against men shutting up. She feels
Okay.
that a healthy conversation will fix everything. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I'm in favor of men shutting up, actually.
But she's telling you, number one, after 46 years, I can say that's the not truth. It's the wrong truth. I don't think you believe in that.
Well,
And it
I
would be
do
nice
agree. And
sometimes, but I guess in
yeah,
your
let's not.
generation, they taught the guys differently.
No, it didn't teach us anything. It's not important. Um, but that's a listen. It's a very good advice that she dispenses. She has a very busy practice, and people have these real issues in relationships that have to be picked apart and, and
It's
deconstructed, then
communication. It's
reconstructed.
one issue.
Right, right,
Communicating. That's
exactly.
it.
I think we're out of time. This has run a pretty long time. We discussed, two very diverse type of topics of interest to our audience. So we're going to wrap it up for today and then for this week, and hope to see you again next week.
And we would
I'm
love
Larry
some
Gordon.
feedback.
Yes, I'm Larry Gordon with Esther Gordon. You can write us at editor at 5tjt.com. It's editor at the number 5tjt. TomJerryTom.com, editor at 5tjt.com, or you can comment right down here on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.